Love bombing, when affection becomes a weapon. The whirlwind romance that feels too good to be true often is. Welcome to the manipulative tactic known as love bombing. I worked with a client last year who described her experience. He told me I was his soulmate on our second date. By week 3, he'd introduced me to his family and started talking about our wedding. I felt special in a way I never had before. When it all suddenly stopped, I felt like I was going through drug withdrawal. This pattern, intense, overwhelming affection followed by sudden withdrawal, represents one of the most effective manipulation tactics precisely because it feels so good at the beginning. Love bombing is an overwhelming display of affection, attention, and adoration designed to create intense emotional attachment and dependency. Unlike normal relationship development, where connection builds gradually, love bombing accelerates the attachment process artificially. The manipulator showers you with constant text messages, extravagant gifts, excessive compliments, and declarations of intense feelings disproportionate to your actual time together. They position themselves as your perfect partner, reflecting back exactly what you've revealed you want. The neurochemical fireworks display. This technique works at both psychological and neurochemical levels. The brain responds to intense positive attention by releasing dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, creating a neurochemical fireworks display that dazzles intensely but fades quickly. Like fireworks that light up the entire sky before leaving you in darkness, love bombing creates an unsustainable emotional high. These brain chemicals activate your reward pathways, creating a biological dependency on the emotional high the love bomber provides. Victims accurately describe it as an addiction rather than merely an emotional connection. The technique exploits our fundamental need for attachment and validation. Humans need to feel seen, valued, and understood. The love bomber provides an intensity of validation that feels like the ultimate fulfillment of this deep longing, making you feel uniquely appreciated in ways previous relationships never achieved. The accelerated timeline. Love bombers move relationships forward at an unnatural speed. They declare love within days, discuss marriage far earlier than appropriate, and want to spend every available moment with you. They introduce you to important people immediately, creating the illusion of serious integration into their life. This accelerated timeline serves a strategic purpose. It prevents objective evaluation. Normal-paced relationships give you time to notice inconsistencies and red flags. Love bombing prevents this by creating such an intense emotional experience that critical thinking becomes nearly impossible. As one victim explained, it's like falling in love while drunk. Everything feels amazing, but you've lost your ability to see clearly. The inevitable withdrawal. The neurochemical response creates genuine addiction. Your brain releases dopamine with each interaction and eventually restructures neural pathways to depend on this stimulation. Like any addiction, tolerance develops. You need increasing validation to feel the same high. This manufactured emotional high sets up the devastating withdrawal phase. After establishing intense connection, the love bomber abruptly changes behavior. Constant communication becomes sporadic. Flowing compliments turn to criticism. The person who couldn't spend enough time with you is suddenly distant. This transition often happens overnight, creating psychological whiplash that leaves victims disoriented and desperate to restore the connection. When withdrawal begins, victims typically blame themselves, assuming they've done something wrong. They become frantic, trying to recapture the initial dynamic by being more accommodating and willing to overlook problems. This response creates a power imbalance where victims tolerate increasingly poor treatment, hoping to regain the love bombing phase. The strategic purpose. Love bombing is particularly common among narcissists and those with manipulative personality traits. For the narcissist, it serves multiple purposes, feeding their need for adoration while establishing emotional dependency they need for control. It allows them to maintain their self-image as someone capable of intense connection, though the feelings expressed are typically shallow and strategic. The withdrawal isn't a natural relationship evolution, it's a calculated strategic move. Once they've created dependency, manipulators shift to intermittent reinforcement to increase your desperation for approval. By making validation unpredictable, they strengthen the addiction. This unpredictability makes you work harder for attention and accept worse treatment. The withdrawal phase establishes the power dynamic that will define the relationship. By demonstrating they can give or withhold affection at will, the love bomber controls the emotional temperature. This power imbalance provides the foundation for future manipulation. Protecting yourself. Understanding this pattern helps you recognize when seemingly romantic behavior is actually manipulation. The key distinction between genuine attraction and love bombing lies in pacing and proportionality. Healthy relationships develop gradually, with expressions matching the actual time spent together. Love bombing feels disproportionate. Devotion exceeds what's appropriate for how well you know each other. Watch for relationships moving at uncomfortable speed. Be wary when someone decides you're perfect before discovering your complexities. Be cautious if they're pushing for serious commitment within the first few weeks or months. Trust your sense of discomfort with excessive adoration. Many victims report feeling subtle unease even during the intoxicating phase. A quiet voice wondering, "Is this too good to be true?" This intuitive discomfort represents your psychological immune system detecting the manipulation beneath the flattering surface. Learning to heed these internal warnings, even when contradicted by positive attention, is your strongest defense against this seductive form of manipulation.